So the 5-year rule speaks to the epidemic, I think, in our Southern Baptist churches, where the average stay of a pastor is still about 3 years. So if you think about it, there's a lot we can accomplish in our life, just in general, in like 2 years. We can accomplish a lot of things in our life. The problem is, when it comes to pastoral ministry, especially church revitalization, there's not a whole lot that gets accomplished in 2 or 3 years. 2 years is just enough time to realize, for a pastor to realize what a mess of a church he just took. And 2 years is about enough time for that church to realize what a mess of a pastor they just got. So I'm convinced that 2 years is where the real ministry begins, where you really start to dig in. You know what you have to work with as a pastor. The problem is 2 to 3 years is the time where a lot of pastors evaluate whether they should even stay. So the 5-year rule speaks to calling pastors to go and stay a minimum of 5 years in a local church, especially if it's a church revitalization, because it takes 5+ years for you to really bear the fruit of the ministry that you do. It takes 5 years to know, is the work you're doing going to change things? Is the ship going to turn, as they say, in the coming years, 6, 7, and 8 years? It's amazing how much in all the churches I've worked with, including the church that I pastor, there's something about that 5-year mark, that the fruit of the hard work you've done those 5 years starts to really come about. You start to earn the trust with the people that you've ministered to. The word you're preaching, as Mark 4 says, the seed's gone out and it's starting to grow and grow and sprout out of the ground and bear fruit. Relationships are starting to form. Other people have come to the church wanting to get on board with the vision you want to see in the church. And this happens over the first 4 to 5 years. And that's really where the ministry begins, where you start to flourish in your ministry. So I watch all kinds of pastors go in and work hard for 2, 3, 4 years, say this is hopeless, and they leave discouraged, thinking the grass is going to be greener on the other side. What they find is if they go and leave inside of 5 years, the same thing happens over and over again. So the 5-year rule is a call for a pastor to stay a minimum of 5 years. Go and commit to stay a minimum of 5 years before you even begin to evaluate whether or not you should stay longer, because that's about the time you really start to see God at work and you'll want to stay and see the work finished.